the revision, and we already know how important this chapter is. In fact, in the exams, you will see not just one question, sometimes they ask you multiple questions from this topic. So, today we are going to discuss this chapter, but I have divided this chapter in two parts, and today we are going to discuss the second part of the chapter, which is meetings, which starts from section 96 till 122. So let's move forward with this chapter. First of all, when we talk about meetings, meetings can be meetings of the shareholders, meetings can be meetings of the board of directors, and meetings can be class meetings also. In this chapter, what we are covering is meeting of the shareholders and the class meetings. And the rules for class meeting is the same as the meeting of the shareholders unless the article specifies otherwise. Now, when we talk about meetings, meetings of the company can be shareholders meeting can be classified in two heads. First is AGM, which is given under section 96, that is annual general meeting. Second is EGM, which is given under section 100, extraordinary general meeting. Annual general meeting, the name itself suggests it is held annually. And this meeting, what is the time? First of all, which company should hold? Every company. Doesn't matter you're private, you're public. But since OPC has only one member, there is no point of asking the OPC to call this meeting. So every company other than OPC shall call this meeting. Now, what is the time for holding the meeting? For the first AGM, the meeting should be held within 9 months from the end of the financial year. What do I mean by financial year? A period which ends on the 31st of March. And if my company is incorporated on or after 1st Jan, it means 31st March of the following year. That means if it is incorporated in 22, 1st Jan 22, my first financial year will be from 1st Jan 22 to 31st March 23. And and for the subsequent means after the first meeting, every other meeting is a subsequent meeting once in every year. Here, the word year means calendar year. We already know, as already done in General Clauses Act, whenever we use the word financial year, it is a period which starts in April, ends on March. I already gave you the definition. Whereas when we talk about just year, we are talking about the calendar year, that is from January to December. Gap between two not more than 15 months and within 6 months from the end of the financial year. So for the first one is 9 months, whereas here it is what? 6 months. Now they say once in every year. That means every year company should hold the AGM. But now see here what is given. The first AGM should be held within 9 months from the end of the financial year. My company is incorporated on 1st Jan 22. My financial year ends on 31st March 23. Now, my financial year ends on 31st March 23. Now the first meeting will be held from the end of the financial year, that is 9 months from 31st March 23, which is 31st December 23. That means company is not calling any meeting in the year 22. But Companies Act says once in every year. So in the year of incorporation, even if the company does not call any meeting, the company will not be held liable for not calling the meeting. Now, what is the day of the meeting? It can be any day which is not a national holiday. When we talk about, please, Sunday is not a national holiday. So Sundays we can call the meeting. Sunday is a public holiday. It cannot be held on a national holiday. The time is during the business hours and where? At the registered office or within the same city, town or village where the registered office is situated. So if my office is in Bangalore, can I hold it anywhere in Bangalore? Yes. But can I go to Kolkata and hold the meeting? No. But in case of an unlisted company, okay, unlisted company, it can be held anywhere in India. It can be held anywhere in India provided prior consent. You cannot call the meeting somewhere else you cannot call the meeting in Kolkata and then say, please give your approval. No. First, you should get the approval, prior approval of all the members. So, generally, we don't see unanimous consents everywhere. Right? Generally, it is what? Special resolution. But there are two cases under the Companies Act in your syllabus where we need consent of all. One is holding the meeting somewhere else other than the registered office or same city, town or village. And the second is infringement clause for a private company. So consent of all the members has to be taken. Prior consent of all the members has to be taken. And how will I take this consent? Either in writing or in electronic mode. Now, let's say due to some reason, whatever, I'm not able to hold the meeting. I can go to the registrar and I can request him that, look, I'm not able to hold the meeting. Can you please give me an extension? Can the registrar give the extension? It's his discretionary power. So it's up to him whether to give the extension or not. So if he feels like giving an extension, can he do that? Yes. Maximum extension he can give is what? 3 months. But for the first meeting, no extension. Please understand, if you give extension beyond this, then we will go to 24. No meeting in 22, no meeting in 23. So no extension for the first AGM. Now, Section 97 says it is the power of the tribunal to call the AGM. So when we talk about 96, we are talking about the meeting being called by the company. Now, 97 talks about the power of the tribunal to call the meeting. If the company has not held the meeting, not called the meeting, member can go to the tribunal. That see, company is not calling the meeting. The tribunal may either order the company to call the meeting or it can itself call the meeting. Can it pass additional orders? Yes. Generally, can a meeting be called by only one member? I mean, one member present. Can the meeting be held? No. But when the meeting is called by the tribunal, even if one member is present, the meeting is absent. He can pass an order that even if one member is present, the meeting is valid. And such meeting shall be considered as the meeting of the company. Now, moving on to the next one, extraordinary general meeting, section 100. Now, what is extraordinary general meeting? Here is my one AGM. Here is my next AGM. If during this period of time the company has to do some urgent business, and for doing this business the company needs the consent of the shareholders, it can call a meeting of the shareholders, and this meeting is known as extraordinary general meeting. So it is basically called between two AGMs. It is a meeting which is not the AGM. When we talk about extraordinary general meeting, who has the authority to call the meeting? The board of directors. When will the board of directors call it? When the board itself feels that there is a need to call the meeting to transact some business, or if the members make a request to the board that we want you to please call a meeting. Members, obviously, they cannot themselves call the meeting. The power to call the meeting is with the company. So they can make a request. This is known as a requisition. They can make a request that please call a meeting. Now, do you think a single member can call the meeting? No, it would be, if we allow this, maybe the members will start to misuse the powers. So we need a minimum holding for calling the meeting. So what is that minimum holding? In case of company having a share capital, members holding not less than 1/10 of the paid up share capital, giving them a power to vote. That means what? Your holding is how much? 1/10 of the paid up share capital. But please understand, when I say paid up share capital, it includes both equity and preference. Now, if the matter is such that both have a right to vote, both will be counted. But if the matter is such that any one of them have a right to vote, only they will be counted. So, having a power to vote. It's a revision thing. So I'm not going too slow. I'm trying to keep up a pace so that you don't waste your time listening to something that you already know. So that is why a little bit, at a faster pace. But if the company does not have a share capital, members holding not less than 1/10 of the total voting power, as gives them a power to vote. That means what? Only the members who have a right to vote on that matter shall have a right to make a requisition. Now, the moment the company receives this requisition, within 21 days, the company should send a notice. That means company should, I shouldn't say send a notice, rather take steps to call the meeting. That is, sending the notice is also a part of it. It should decide the day when the meeting should be called, the venue, notices should be dispatched, all those steps to call the meeting should be done within 45 days. Now, it is not 21 plus 45, no. When I say 45 days means it is from the date of deposit of the requisition. Within 45 days, the meeting should be held. Right? Within 45 days, the meeting should be held. If the company fails to hold the meeting within 45 days, then in that case, those members who have made a requisition, they themselves can call the meeting. Those members who have made a requisition, they can themselves call the meeting. So I repeat again, if the company fails to call the meeting, the requisitionist may call the meeting. right? The requisitionist may call the meeting. Now, when I talk about requisitionist, within what period? 3 months. Is it 45 plus 3? No. From the date of deposit of requisition. So please, when you're writing in the exams, it is not 21 plus 45 plus 3. No. 21 days from the date of deposits, 45 days from the date of deposits, 3 months from the date of deposits, right? Now, when the members make a requisition, the requisition must set out the matter. That means for what we are calling the meeting. Let's say we want to remove the MD. So they have to mention in the requisition that please call the meeting to remove the MD. But we don't have to really give the reason why we want to remove the MD, not required. It was held in the case of LIC versus Escorts. The company need not give the reason for the requisition. The requisition, sorry, need not give the reason behind the requisition. It is enough if they say we want to call the meeting to remove the MD. And at the meeting, they can actually go and tell why we want to remove him. It should be signed by all the requisitionists and it must be sent at the registered office. Right? I hope it is clear. And when the meeting is called by the requisitionist, whose duty is it to call the meeting? The company. So when the requisitionists call the meetings, all the reasonable expenses will be reimbursed to them by the company. That means the company have to pay them back whatever expenses they have made. I hope it's clear to all of you. Moving forward, for the meeting called by the requisitions, first of all, okay, where can the meeting be called? Before I go into the rules part, section 100, what does it say? Where can the EGM be called? Anywhere in India. So where AGM, there was a restriction, it should be within the same city, town or village. As for EGM, there is no restriction, it can be called anywhere in India. But if I am a company where I am a subsidiary, I'm a wholly owned subsidiary, okay? I'm a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India. Then I can call the EGM outside India also. Let us say X Limited is a company incorporated in New York. Y Limited is a company incorporated in India. Now, I'm not talking about EGM of X Limited, not even my concern. The meeting of X Limited is not my concern. I'm talking about Y Limited because it is in India. Now, if Y Limited is calling EGM, where should it call? Anywhere in India, correct? But Y Limited is the wholly owned subsidiary of X Limited. That is, X Limited holds 100% voting power of Y Limited. Can Y Limited go to New York and hold the meeting in New York? Yes. In case of a company which is a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India, the EGM can be called anywhere outside India. Now, the rules tells us a few more things also. The rules say that the requisitionists have to send a notice in writing or electronic mode, and it must be sent at least 21 clear days before the meeting. Now, to whom will be sent? So whoever is entitled to receive the notice, to all those members, company will give you a name that these are the members who have the right to get the notice, and the notice will be sent to all of them. It can be sent by speed post, registered post, electronic mode, and explanatory statement need not be attached. Under section 102, if you remember, explanatory statement. If you remember, I told you, they have to say what is the requisition, but why the requisition, they don't have to say. So explanatory statement need not be attached. But if the resolution is a special resolution, they must specify. It will specify the day, time, place, and date of the meeting. The notice will specify the day, time, date, and place of the meeting. And when the meeting is called by the requisitionist, the place is, right? The place is at the registered office or within the same city, town, or village where the registered office is situated. So that means if the company is calling the EGM, it is anywhere in India. But if the company meeting is called by the requisitionist, it has to be at the registered office or within the same city, town, or village where the registered office is situated. Now, power of the tribunal. We just did this, ma'am. That was section 97. That was for AGM. This is section 98. This is for any meeting other than AGM. Section 97 was specifically for AGM. This is for any meeting other than AGM. So it can be class meeting, EGM, whatever. So if it is impracticable for the company to call the meeting. Ma'am, what is impracticable? As such, Companies Act has not defined the term impracticable. They don't say what is considered as impracticable. If I put it in simple terms, impracticable means the company is not in a position to call the meeting. Right? Then in that case, the tribunal may on its own. That means no application. Please understand, section 97 was when the member makes an application. When the member makes an application. Whereas section 98 is the tribunal may, even without an application, on its own, it can call the meeting. Or on an application of a director or member. So 97 was only member can make an application. Here application can be made even by a director. He may order a meeting of the company. And this meeting shall be regarded as the meeting of the company. Can it even pass additional orders? Like even if a single member is present, the meeting is valid? Yes. It can even pass an additional order that even if a single member is present, the meeting is valid. Now, if you have made a default under section 96, 97, 98, what is 96? AGM. What is 97? 97 is power of the tribunal to call the AGM. What is 98? Power of the tribunal to call any meeting other than AGM. So you have not called the AGM within the time limit. Tribunal ordered you to call AGM or any other meeting, you have not called it. Then company and every officer of the company who is in default shall be liable to a fine which may extend to 1 lakh. And in case of continuing default, 5,000 for every day of continuing default. That means what? 1 lakh, 1 lakh 5,000, 1 lakh 10,000, 1 lakh 15, 20, and so on. It will keep going. Right? So we are done with section 96 to 100. Now moving on to the next part. The requisites of a meeting. Requisites means the requirements, the essentials of the meeting. If I don't call the AGM within time, does it invalidate the meeting? No. But these are essentials. If these are not present, will it invalidate the meeting? Yes. So what are the essentials? We can actually call it under CQ. 3 heads we can divide it. Properly called, properly convened, properly conducted. What is properly called? Notice is given. Explanatory statement is attached. Right? 101, 102. What is properly convened? Quorum is present, chairman is appointed, proxy. That is not mandatory proxy should be present, but the rules of proxy is there. Voting, resolutions are passed. So quorum is section 103, chairman is 104, proxy is 105, voting is from 106 to 110, resolution is 114 and 115. Then properly conducted, minutes, books are prepared. Section 118 and 119. Let's talk about notice. Notice. I am calling a meeting. Obviously, I have to tell my shareholders, no, I'm calling a meeting. How will they know? So I tell them that I'm calling a meeting. Can I actually call and say, no, it has to be in writing. Or it can be by electronic mode. Right? It has to be in writing or it can be by electronic mode. Notice is sent to every member. In case of death of the member, to the legal representative of the deceased member. Ma'am, he is also a member. No, unless he gets himself registered as a member, he's just a shareholder. So if he's not registered, he's just a shareholder, I have to give a notice to him also. A notice to the assignees of an insolvent member. If a member has become insolvent, his shares will now vest with the official liquidators or assignees. And I have to give a notice of the meeting to the assignee also, to the directors and to the auditor of the company, right? Can the auditor actually attend the meeting? Yes, he should attend the meeting. Under section 146, which is in the chapter auditors, he shall not have a right to speak at the meeting. But if any matter concerns him, he can also he has a right of say on that matter. And now it should be sent at least 21 clear days. Clear days means what? The day of posting and the day of meeting shall be excluded. So, ma'am, instead of 21 clear days, I can also write 23 days and that works fine. You're absolutely correct. But then 21 clear days is a technical word. And please stick to the technicalities. So instead of writing 23 days, the better way to write is 21 clear days, where the word clear implies the day of meeting and the day of posting shall be excluded. Now, if I send my notice by post, so for postal service also I need some time, correct or not? For postal service also I need some time. So as per section 20, okay, as per section 20, when the notice is sent by post, it is deemed to be served 48 hours after posting. That means if I am sending it by post, 21 clear days plus 48 hours, right? 21 clear days plus 48 hours. Can I call a meeting by giving a shorter notice? Now, shorter notice doesn't mean instead of 2 page, 1 page. No. Shorter notice means less than 21 days. Please be clear. Shorter notice doesn't mean acha 2 page ki jagah 1 page. Nah. It means that instead of 21 clear days, I sent it for lesser days. Can it be sent? Yes. If consent is taken, how will I take the consent? Writing or electronic mode? How will I take the consent? In writing or by electronic mode, I will take the consent. Who will give the consent? In case of AGM, 95% of the members entitled. Not every member can give the consent. Only that member which has the right to vote on that matter shall have a right to give the approval for shorter notice. So let us say these are the members who have a right to vote and these are the members who don't have a right to vote. I will not take their 90%, 95% of these category, I want their consent. If the company, this is in case of AGM, in case of any other meeting, it can be EGM, it can be class meeting, anything. In case company has a share capital, majority in number, and such members holding not less than 95% of the paid up share capital as gives them a power to vote. So there are two things here. First, you should be majority in number and your holding should be 95% of the paid up share capital as gives you a power to vote. So let us say we are 10. So if I take majority in number, it comes to what? 6. Correct? Now this 6 should hold 95%. Let's say this 6 is only holding 90%. One condition is fulfilled, but is the other fulfilled? No. So will their consent work? No. So let us say 7 is holding 93%. Does it work? No. Let's say 8 is holding 96%. Does it work? Yes. So I need two things. First, out of the total numbers, you should be majority. So if it is 10, majority is at least 6 ka consent I need. But these people who are agreeing should also hold how much? 95% of the voting power total paid up share capital of the company, which gives them a power to vote. So only those people who have a right to vote will be considered. And if the company does not have a share capital, 95% of the total voting power exercisable at that meeting. You don't have a right to vote. What is your right to give the consent also? So only those who have a right to vote shall be allowed. Notice will specify the day, time, date, place of the meeting and the business to be done at the meeting. If I fail to give the notice, see, notice is an essential. It's a requisite. And if notice is not sent, obviously the meeting is not valid. But unknowingly, if you commit a crime or if you guna kar do unknowingly, तो भगवान भी माफ कर देता. तो ये तो Companies Act है. This is the Companies Act. Even God forgives you. So if your omission is accidental, if you by mistake fail to send the notice, the meeting will be valid. But if the omission is deliberately you have not sent the notice, then the meeting is not valid. Now, rules tells us about notice by electronic mode. So section 101 tells us everything about the notice, but if the notice is sent by electronic mode, the rules also tells us a few things. Let's see what the rules say. It shall be sent as an email, right? Obviously, electronic mode means what? Email. As a text, attachment, or URL. So either the email only will contain all the text, or you can attach a PDF to that, or you can send a URL where I'll click and I'll be directed to the link. It shall be addressed to the person who has a right to receive the mail. That means addressed to the member who is entitled to receive the notice. It should be non-editable. Abhi, someone says, "Arey, company did not do this. Company never mentioned this." Company is like, "We mentioned it," and they show, "See, it is the edit kar diya." No, it should be non-editable PDF. The subject line. I swear, I have never sent an email with a subject line filled, and that's one of the very, sometimes I have to find my mail and I'm like literally searching because I don't know. Anyway, I find it too lazy to fill up the subject line, but company ऐसा नहीं कर सकता है. Company has to fill up the subject line. Subject line shall specify the name of the company. My laptop has its own mind. Now, the name of the company, the notice, the type of meeting, the place, and the date of the meeting. And let's say I have sent you a notice, but you did not receive it. And now you are saying company never sent me a notice, meeting is invalid. So I should have a proof. So I should use a system of sending an email where I get a confirmation that the email is sent. And the moment I send you the notice, my obligation is over. Now, if in transmission you don't receive the notice, I'm not liable. Ma'am, if you have sent, how can I not receive? It happens sometimes. Electronic glitches happen. Even if it is sent by post, also such glitches can happen. Right? So once I have sent the notice, my liability for notice is over. Even if you don't receive, I'm not liable. Now, it may happen that you forgot your password. Right? अब बचपन में बनाया था when I was 18. You understand? No. So at least you forgot the password. Company is sending you notices or you're not able to access your mail. So once in every year, the company gives the opportunity, once in every financial year, company gives an opportunity to its shareholders that you can update or register. That means if till today you have not given an email, give the email. If you need to change your email, update your email. I hope this is clear to everyone. Moving on to section 102. Now, moving on to the next section, section 102. Before we start about explanatory statement, section 102 talks about business. Obviously, I am calling a meeting. The purpose of meeting is to conduct a business. Under the Companies Act, business can be classified under two heads, ordinary and special. 4 businesses are considered as ordinary. Any business other than this 4 is special. So what are these 4 businesses? First, consideration of financial statement and the reports of the board and auditors. Second, declaration of dividend. Third, appointment of directors. Fourth, appointment and fixing of remuneration of auditors. Other than this 4, every business is a special business. Now, when I talk about AGM, at the AGM, we conduct both ordinary and special business. But at the EGM, we conduct special. So, ma'am, we cannot conduct ordinary at the EGM. No, we can. But whatever business we conduct at the EGM, it is a special business. That means, even if I conduct an ordinary business at the EGM, it becomes a special business because it is conducted in the EGM. Now, this explanatory statement, please always remember it is only for special business. We don't send explanatory statement for ordinary business. It's only sent for special businesses. So, if the company is calling a meeting and if there is any special business, along with the notice, it should also send an so it is attached to the notice. It is sent along with the notice. What all information should be there in this? First, nature of concern or interest. Nature of concern or interest, financial or otherwise. That means what? If my director, if my manager, if my key managerial personnel, key managerial personnel, manager, MD, whole-time director, CS, CFO, CEO, or any other person appointed at one level immediately below the board as a key managerial personnel or relatives of them, if they have any interest in any contract that the company is making, company is entering into any contract, financial or non-financial interest can be financial or non-financial. If my director, my manager, my key managerial personnel or their relatives, I am making a contract and they are interested in this contract, it can be a financial or a non-financial interest. This disclosure of the same has to be given. Then, see, let's say company says I want to buy back. Now, this information is not enough. I need to know why you want to buy back, how much you buy back, from where will you buy back, where will you get the money, all this information. So, if in case of a special business, I need all other information and fact that will help me to come to a decision. So, company should disclose that also in its explanatory statement. Then, if because of non-disclosure or insufficient disclosure, they have earned any benefit, who have earned any benefit? These people. This benefit belongs to the company and they are holding this benefit only as a trustee for the company. Right? That means if you have not made disclosures or you have made insufficient disclosures and you've earned profit, gained profit, that profit does not belong to you, it belongs to the company and you're just holding it on behalf of the company. Now, if my company is making a contract with another company and the director or promoter or manager or key managerial personnel of my company holds not less than 2% of the paid up share capital in this second company, then my company should also make a disclosure of this holding. Right? My company should also make. So I am making a contract with this company or it is going to affect this company. And the director or the manager or the key managerial personnel or promoter of my company hold not less than 2% of the paid up share capital of this other company, then I should make this disclosure also. If any document has to be considered, see, you are making a contract and you want my votes on that. Now, please understand, you want my votes. You will call me at the meeting and suddenly give me a 30-page document, read and tell me. How can I read? So there should be a time where I can inspect it before I come to the meeting. So if any document has to be inspected, the time and place where it can be inspected. If you don't make these disclosures, then whoever is in default shall be liable to a penalty of 50,000 or 5 times the benefit, whichever is higher. Quorum. Quorum is the minimum. Next is section 103 quorum. Quorum is the minimum number of members that should be present. See, a meeting cannot be called with one member. I need some minimum number of members to conduct the meeting. Quorum is that minimum number. Now, if the articles do not specify a higher number, right? If the articles do not specify a higher number, Act says, so here, who is more supreme? Articles or the Act? Articles are supreme. If article don't say anything, then we follow the Act. Quorum will be in case of a private company, 2 members personally. Now this personally present is a key word. Personally present means only the people who are entitled to vote shall be counted. Personally present means only the people who are entitled to vote shall be counted. If the company is a private company, quorum is 2 members personally present. If the company is a public company, if my number of members is up to 1,000, quorum is 5 members personally present. If my members is more than 1,000 but it is up to 5,000, quorum is 15 members personally present, and if it is more than 5,000, 30 members personally present. Personally present is a key word, and the word personally present means only people who are entitled to vote are counted. So even proxies will not be counted. If the meeting is of the equity shareholders, only equity have a right to vote. Preference will not be counted. Now, what happens if the quorum is not present? If within 30 minutes, that is half an hour from the time scheduled for the meeting, quorum is not present, can I continue? No. Because it is very important to understand one thing here, that without quorum, meeting cannot continue. So in that case, we will adjourn the meeting to the next week, same day, same time. If at the adjourned meeting also quorum is not present, then I cannot adjourn it again. How many times? It's like a vicious cycle then. So whoever is present with them, we will continue the meeting. So I repeat again, if the meeting is adjourned due to lack of quorum, then whoever is present, at the adjourned meeting also, if quorum is not present, then whoever is present shall constitute the quorum. But please understand here one thing. At the adjourned meeting, quorum is not needed when the meeting is adjourned due to lack of quorum. If the meeting is adjourned due to any other reason, then at the adjourned meeting also presence of quorum is needed. Correct? Then, if the meeting is called by the now please understand what is meeting called by the requisitionist. Remember EGM we had done. If the requisition is made and the company fails to call the meeting, then the requisitionist will call the meeting. Remember? Now, please understand, bro, you are calling the meeting and you all are quorum is only not present. Then, bro, why did you even call the meeting? So, should you be given a chance to adjourn? No. If the meeting is called by the requisitionist, and at the meeting, sorry, quorum is not present, you don't adjourn the meeting is cancelled. Now you know what mistakes people will make. I just said that, bro, you are calling the meeting and you are only not present. When question comes on this, student actually write this: you have called the meeting, it is your duty to be present. Please don't write. If they give you a question, requisitionist call the meeting, quorum is not present, you just have to write. If the meeting is called by the requisitionist and the quorum is not present, meeting is cancelled. When I say you have called the meeting and you are not present, I'm only telling you the reason they cancel it. This is not for you to write in the paper. Now, do I have to give a notice of adjourned meeting? Generally, no. But if the meeting is adjourned due to lack of quorum, okay? If the meeting is adjourned due to lack of quorum, or if there is a change of day or time of the meeting, then for the adjourned meeting also notice has to be given. Now, along with quorum, let's say if the president of the country or a governor of a state is a member of my company, do you think if I call a meeting, they will come? No. So in that case, they will send a representative, correct or not? And section 112 says that this representative will also be considered as a member personally present. So if a president of India or the governor of a state is a member of a company and it sends a representative to attend the meeting, then this representative shall also be counted as a member personally present. If a body corporate, can a body corporate be a member of another company? Yes. Please understand, section 113 is very specifically using the word body corporate. Section 113 is very specifically using the word body corporate. So, I am including even foreign companies. So, if a body, so please understand, I am including a foreign company also. So, even if a foreign company is a member of my company, now if the meeting is called, members will attend. Now, the member is an artificial person. How will this member attend? So in that case, can he send a representative? Yes, and this representative shall be counted as a member. First, that means he will be counted for quorum. Section 104, chairman, members present shall appoint one amongst themselves as the chairman by show of hands. So by show of hands, we will appoint one as a chairman. Now, if a demand is made for poll, generally, if a demand for poll is made, it is conducted within 48 hours. But guys, understand, I have to appoint a chairman. Can I wait till 48 hours to appoint the chairman of this meeting? No. That will be conducted immediately. If poll is demanded, it shall be conducted immediately. I hope till this point it's clear you're following. And if you're following, ek like to banta hai. Correct or not? We also get the motivation that we are of any help. So when you put those likes, we know that, okay, we helped you. Proxy. Proxy is what? All of you must have done that in your college, right? Proxy means you are a representative of a member of the company. Due to any reason, member is not able to attend the meeting. Can he send a representative? Yes. But this representative cannot speak at the meeting and cannot vote by show of hands. But you know what? If a poll is demanded, he can also demand a poll. And he can also vote when the poll is demanded. That is, when the voting is done by poll, he can also vote. Now, a person representing the member of the company at the meeting is called a proxy. Even, but if a company does not have a share capital, you cannot appoint a proxy unless the articles authorize. So, see, rights of the proxy: he cannot speak at the meeting, he cannot vote except on poll, but he can also demand for poll, and he can vote in poll. He cannot vote except on poll. That means when the voting is done by show of hands, he cannot vote. But if the voting is done by poll, can he vote? Yes. The form of proxy is what? MGT 11. What is this form, ma'am? So see, let's say a member is appointing a proxy. Company should know, no? Otherwise, anyone will come and say, I'm a proxy of this member. How will I know? Maybe your friend, he says, meeting is there, I will not go. You think, oh, he's not going, let me go and attend. The member doesn't know, company doesn't know. So member will have to give an authorization, no, company ko. Company, I've authorized this person to go and attend the meeting on my behalf. So this, when I appoint a proxy, I will inform the company by filing MGT 11 that this person is going to act as my proxy. And this form has to be submitted 48 hours, at least 48 hours before the meeting. So if I submit this form 52 hours before the meeting, does it work? Yes, absolutely. If I submit it 42 hours before the meeting, no, because it is at least. Right? Articles of Association says 56 hours. Act says 48 hours, article says 56 hours. A member deposits the proxy form 52 hours before the meeting, valid or not valid. Actually, till now we have seen if articles give something, that will follow. But here, it's valid. Here, 48 hours it is. And even if the articles specify a higher period, it is deemed as if it's a period of 48 hours. So, proxy form must be deposited 48 hours before the meeting. If the articles specify a higher period, it shall be deemed that a period of 48 hours have been specified. And the form number is MGT 11. It shall be in writing and shall be signed by the member. Because I'm authorizing, no, that you go and attend on my behalf. Correct or no? Now, should the proxy be a member, or can I appoint any outsider also? I can appoint any outsider also. But in case of a Section 8 company, only a member can be a proxy. Proxy can be an outsider also. Need not be a member. But if it is a Section 8 company, only a member can be appointed as a proxy. So, you need not be a member. But in case of Section 8 company, only a member can be a proxy. Correct? Do you think company can give you a list of people who can be appointed as a proxy? No. Then you are kind of forcing your choices on me. I have a right to appoint anyone, the freedom. But I don't have anyone to appoint. Can I go and tell the company, please tell me the name of people who can be appointed? Yes. Then can company give me yes? And is it valid? Absolutely. Now, how many? A person, Mr. A, company has 1,000 members, literally 500 members appointed A as a proxy. Can you do that? Wow. Wow. 1,000 को ही बोल दो कि you please appoint A alone will go for all, everyone. Not possible. 50 in number. So for how many people can I act as a proxy? 50 members maximum. Holding in aggregate not more than 10% of the share capital of the company carrying voting rights. That means I can be a proxy for 50 members, but the total holding of these members cannot be more than 10% of total share capital. That means P is appointed as a proxy of A, B, C, and D. A holds 5%, B holds 2%, C holds 0.5%, D holds 1.5%. 8%. E wants to appoint P as a proxy. E ka holding is 1.25. F wants to appoint him. F ka holding is again 1.25. Can they appoint P as a proxy, both of them? He is already holding 8%. Total is 10%. Now, if he takes both of their proxies, he's holding 3% more, which totals to 11%. And the maximum holding that he can have is 10%. So he can either act as a proxy for E or for F, but not for both of them. Correct? He can either act as a proxy for E or for F, but not for both of them. G wants to appoint. Let's take another case. He's already holding a proxy of ABCD. G holds 5%. Can P be the proxy? No. No. So number is 50, but ma'am, you told number. Number is 50, but their total holding should not be more than 10%. Now there is a member M, he holds 12%. So ma'am, he can never appoint a proxy. He can. Let's say he appoints A as a proxy. Can he appoint A as a proxy? Yes, absolutely. But A cannot act as a proxy for any other member. That means if a member holds 10% or more, just a second. That means if a member holds more than 10%, he can appoint a proxy, and such person shall not act as a proxy for any other member. I hope it's clear to everyone. Now, let's say S is a member of the company. He's a very, very inquisitive person. He wants to poke his man's business. So he wants to see who all I have appointed a proxy. So can he actually inspect the proxy forms? Yes. But he has to give a 3 days notice. That means 3 days before the meeting, he should give a notice that I want to inspect the proxy forms. Now let us say the meeting starts at tomorrow. It starts at, let's say, 2 o'clock. Okay? I think it is put on charge and that is why it is not working. So let's say the meeting starts at 2 o'clock. And let's say the meeting ended at 5 o'clock. So this is, let's say, 23rd. So from 22nd at 2 o'clock till 5 p.m. tomorrow, he can inspect. So he can inspect the proxy forms 24 hours before the meeting till the conclusion of the meeting. So if a member wants to inspect, he must give a notice of not less than 3 days. Inspection can be done 24 hours before the meeting till the conclusion of the meeting. 24 hours before the meeting till the conclusion of the meeting. I hope it's clear to all of you. Now we are going to go to the next part, which is voting. Section 106 to 110 talks about voting. 106 talks about restrictions on voting power. 107 voting on show of hands. 108 voting electronically. 109 demand for poll, and 110 postal ballot. Restrictions on voting rights. Can a member be stopped from voting? Can a member be stopped from voting at the meeting? Yes. Only if articles authorize. So if the articles of the company authorize, the member of the company can be stopped from voting, but only on 2 grounds. I repeat again, only on 2 grounds. First, if any call or any other sum he has not paid. Let's say he has taken a loan from the company, has not repaid it. Can we stop him from voting? Yes. Or the company exercises a lien over his shares. Let's say he took a loan from the company against his shares. Now, he did not repay the loan. Can the company, so whenever, see, lender does not get his money and the goods are pledged to him, can he hold back the goods? Yes. Here, shares are pledged to the company. Can the company hold back the shares? Yes. This is known as what? Lien. Company exercises a lien over his shares. Can the company stop him from voting? Yes. But only if the articles authorize. Voting cannot be restricted on any other grounds. That means you cannot stop a member from voting on any other grounds. Now, next one is voting by show of hands, section 107. Remember, generally what happens, the voting is one share is equal to one vote, right? But when the voting is done by show of hands, it's one person, one vote. So, let's say you hold 10 shares, I hold 8 shares. For me also one, for you also one. I cannot say 100 times I am against or I'm favor 100 times. You cannot say in favor 10 times. No. I also one vote, you also one vote. So, unless a poll is demanded, okay, or the voting is done, so when the voting is done electronically, it is always when the voting is done electronically, it is always one vote. But if poll is not demanded or voting is not done electronically, voting is generally done how? By show of hands. And in show of hands, one share, one person, one vote. The secretary count and the chairman will declare the results. And whatever the chairman declares the result, if he says the votes in favor were more than votes against, no one can question it. It is the conclusive evidence. So the declaration by the chairman is the conclusive evidence of whether the resolution is passed or not. Now, voting through electronic mode, I know this looks so lengthy, but we will do it by 3 or 4 charts. It will be super easy for us. First, voting by electronic mode, what is the purpose? Giving you an option not to even attend the meeting, sit at your home and vote. What is the main objective of voting through electronic mode? Don't even come to the meeting, sit at home and vote. So that is the main objective of electronic voting. Let's understand which companies offer it. Listed company and not less than 1,000 members. That means every company with 1,000 or more members or listed company. They have to give the option to vote electronically. I am not a listed company and I only have 450 members. If I want, can I give voting electronically? Yeah, no one is stopping you, but it's not mandatory for you. But if you have 1,000 or more members, or if you are a listed company, then voting electronically is mandatory for you. Now, they have to provide the facility of voting electronically. However, this is not applicable to a Nidhi company and to enterprises or institutional investors referred in Chapter 10B or 10C. They are basically small or medium-sized enterprises. They don't have to give the option of voting electronically, right? Now, the notice of this meeting will also be sent to whom? Members, directors, auditors. Just like 101 section, same, members, directors, auditors. Notice has to be sent. How? Registered post, speed post, courier service or electronic mode. Same as notice. It will also be placed on the website. It will also be put up as an advertisement, public notice. The concept here is that, see, please, I have dispatched the notice of the meeting here. But my meeting will be held here. And during this period of time, members may sell and buy their shares. Members may sell, others may buy. So, whoever is buying and selling the shares during this period, how will they know about the voting electronically and all that? So, for that, advertisement is given. So, advertisement is actually given for those people who acquire the shares after the notice but before the meeting, or for those to whom the dispatch of notice never happened. If you've got the notice, no problem only. When I say advertisement is always, you remember, in In Companies Act, unless otherwise given, advertisement is always in one English and one vernacular language newspaper, right? One English and one vernacular language newspaper. Now, notice will state what? That we are giving you an option to vote electronically. Correct? Once you have voted electronically, you can attend the meeting, but you cannot cast vote at the meeting because you already voted. If you have not voted electronically, you can come to the meeting and also vote at the meeting. And also the manner in which you will get your password and everything to log in. So the members who have cast the vote can attend the meeting but not cast. Those who have not voted shall have a right to attend the meeting and vote at it. And the process and the manner and the time for voting and also how to generate the password. Correct? The advertisement. Now please understand, I already told you advertisement is generally for those people who have got the shares after the dispatch of notice but before the date of the meeting. The advertisement shall specify the cut-off date. What is this cut-off date? That, let's say, this is the date of note and this is the date of meeting. We have chosen this as cut-off date. That means on this day, whoever are holding the shares will have a right to vote at the meeting on this day. It means what? That on this day, whoever holds the shares will have a right to vote at the meeting on this day. And obviously these informations so will be given. Apart from that, the manner in which the person who has acquired shares after dispatch of notice can get the ID and password. I told you, it is for those people who acquire the shares during this period of time. So for them, how you can get your login ID and password. Only the person whose name appears on the cutoff date shall be entitled to vote. Website of the company, and in case you're not able to generate your password, you're having any problem, you're not able to vote, the person who will address your grievances, you will give his name, designation, address, and email ID. Now, this how many days? Minimum 3 days the voting should be open. You cannot say today only voting open, vote. I can have some problem, I'm traveling, whatever, I don't have access to internet, though it's not possible these days, but still, maybe the servers are down, whatever. Minimum 3 days you have to give me the voting rights. And tomorrow morning is the meeting. So, or tomorrow, anytime in the day is the meeting. Today, 5 o'clock, it will close. Once I have cast my vote, the portal will be blocked. I cannot vote again or take my votes back. So, the facility for e-voting shall be open for not less than 3 days and close at 5 p.m. on the date preceding the date of the meeting. Vote once cast cannot be changed, and at the end of the voting, the facility shall be blocked. Do you think the chairman will have access to the votes? No. No one will have access to the votes because if I already know what type of votes are cast, I can actually manipulate the votes. So no one will have access to the votes. Now the board of directors will appoint a scrutinizer. Scrutinizer can be a CA, CS, CMA, advocate, anyone, but he cannot be an employee of the company, right? Now, the scrutinizer will have access to the names of the people who have voted so that they are not voting again at the meeting. But even he will not have access to the votes cast. Now, on the date of the meeting, after the meeting is done, voting is done, he will first count the votes cast at the meeting. Then in front of two witnesses, he will not witnesses, that is for postal ballot, and then he will unblock the votes of the online electronic meeting. And within 3 days, he will prepare a consolidated. So he will first count the votes at the meeting, unblock the votes cast through remote e-voting, prepare a consolidated report within 3 days, not later than 3 days. And this he will send it to the chairman. And then chairman will put it up on the website of the company and he will also forward it to the stock exchange in case of listed company. I hope it's clear. I already told you this, right? Now, this part we will do once we have come to postal ballot. poll, generally a demand for poll is made. Otherwise, voting is done by show of hands. If the chairman feels that poll should be conducted, or if the demand is made for the poll, then poll will be conducted. At what time can you demand for the poll? Let us say we are appointing Mr. A as a chairman, and we are like, let's go for voting by show of hands. Members are we demand for poll. Can they do that? Yes. While the voting is being going on, they say we demand for poll. Can they do? Yes. Voting is done, result is declared. Can they still demand for a poll? Yes. It can be done before or on the declaration of the result of voting on show of hands. When is poll done? When the chairman feels a poll should be conducted, as I already told you, or demand is made. Now, please here remember, even a proxy can make a demand. Correct? So, in case the company has a share capital, members, in person or proxy, I told you proxy can also demand the poll. If how many people can make a demand? Not less than 1/10 of the total voting power. Not less than 1/10 of the total voting power. Or you are holding shares on which the paid up value is at least 5 lakh. Right? That means you're either holding 1/10 of the total voting power, or you're holding shares on which not less than 5 lakh has been paid up. And for any other company, that means if you don't have a share capital, members holding 1/10 of the total voting power. Remember, proxy can also demand for a poll. Now, generally, and demand can be withdrawn also at any time. You said, let's go for a poll. Then you are like, it's okay, let's continue with this only. Can you do that? Yes. When the poll is demanded, poll is conducted within 48 hours. But we just saw that if the poll is for appointment of chairman, you cannot wait for 48 hours. Let's say I want to adjourn the meeting, and we are saying, let's adjourn the meeting voting. Someone says we demand for poll. You say, okay, let's wait for 48 hours to conduct the poll. I want to adjourn now, not after 48 hours. So for these two matters, it is done immediately. Correct? Now postal ballot. Postal ballot. The concept of postal ballots is that, see, not every member can come to the meeting. Right? Not every member can come to the meeting. So, postal ballot is giving an option to the shareholders that you sit at home and vote. Postal ballot is giving an option to the shareholders that you sit at home and vote. So, that is what we mean by postal ballot. Ma'am, that is electronic mode only. Yes. So, once I'm done with postal ballot completely, then I'll tell you postal ballot and electronic vote together. Company shall. So, Companies Act has given a list of business that these businesses have to be done only through postal ballot. So, for those businesses, postal ballot has to be conducted. But for other business, can you conduct? Yes, no one is stopping you. But for ordinary business, you can never conduct a postal ballot. And if any matter is such where the director or auditor has a right to speak, you cannot conduct postal ballot. See, postal ballot, the concept is that instead of holding the meeting, you are just doing the business through postal ballot. When you are doing through postal ballot, you don't have to hold a meeting. Okay? But in electronic voting, what is happening is meeting is being called, but you are also giving an option of voting electronically. Okay? Meeting is being called, but you are also giving an option to vote electronically. So, ma'am, in postal ballot, meeting can never be called. No. Let us say I'm calling an AGM and there is a matter which has to be done through postal ballot. That has to be done through postal ballot. But let's say in the middle of the year, I have some urgent business. Then instead of calling an EGM, if that business can be done through postal ballot, I'll do it through postal ballot instead of calling an EGM. But if they allow me to conduct ordinary business also through postal ballot, then I'll never call an AGM only, So that is why they say, if the business is ordinary business, you have to call the meeting and do it at the meeting only. You cannot hold a postal ballot for that. And second, if director or auditor has a right to have a right to speak at a matter, and you hold a postal ballot, where will they speak then? So in that case, you cannot conduct a postal ballot. Now, which companies have to call a postal ballot? So rather, we will put it like this. An OPC and a company with up to 200 members need not conduct a postal ballot. Right? Need not transact any business. They don't even have to transact this business through postal ballot. Now, what is postal ballot? So now, in postal ballot, what happens is, if there is no upcoming meeting, no AGM, we can just conduct it through postal ballot and get it done. Whereas electronic mode, whatever the type of meeting, we are also giving the shareholders an option to vote electronically. But the concept of both postal ballot and electronic voting is, I am giving my shareholders option to vote at home. So if company is already giving the voting electronically, right? So I'm anyway giving you an option to vote from home, which works exactly as postal ballot. Then for business to be transacted by postal ballot, it may conduct business to be transacted by postal ballot through electronic mode only. Concept of postal ballot is also let the members vote from home. Concept of electronic voting is also the same. If a company is giving an option to vote electronically, then company need not conduct the voting through postal ballot. This is what this statement means. Now, how is the postal ballot conducted? Company will send a notice along with draft resolution to the members. How is it sent? Registered post, speed post, electronic mode, courier service. We have already seen this. It will also be put up as an advertisement also on the website. What they will specify, notice will specify that business is being done by postal ballot. The day the notice was sent, the completion of dispatch of notice, the day the voting starts, the day the voting ends. Actually, this has to be completed within 30 days. And if any vote is received after 30 days, we will not consider it. So the notice will specify the day the voting starts, the day the voting ends. And it will also give a declaration that if we get any votes after 30 days, we will not consider those votes. So, date of completion of dispatch of notice, commencement of voting, end of voting for ballot received after 30 days shall not be valid. Right? If they have members who have not received the ballot may apply to the company to get a duplicate and details of the person for grievances. That is, you did not get the postal ballot, you want a copy, a duplicate of it. To whom will you go for this duplicate? The name of that person. Now, either let's talk about the company. Company will appoint a scrutinizer. And this scrutinizer for the next 30 days, he will be the employee of the company. He will prepare a record. He will make the details, he'll make a record of the name of the person, address, how many shares he's holding, occupation, all that details he'll maintain. As the postal ballot starts pouring in, against the name of that person, he will make a note of the voting. If he receives any postal ballot in torn or mutilated state, that is not visible votes, he will also make a note of the same. After 30 days over, he will not now, no voting will be taken. In the next 7 days, he will prepare a report and give it to the chairman. He will also hand over all of these postal ballots, the notes he had made, the records he had made back to the company. Right? He will. So now the chairman will appoint. We already discussed all of that. Achha, this is not for this. It was actually for the voting by, what do you say, demand for poll. And he will prepare a report and give it to the result will be declared on the website of the company. These are the businesses that are done through postal ballot mandatorily. Now moving on, how is decision taken? We vote, right? We vote, and as per the number of votes, the decision is taken. Generally, how is the decision taken? Votes in favor should be more than votes against, correct or not? This is normal. This is known as ordinary resolution. But in some cases, it is not right on the minority that for everything ordinary resolution works. So for law, in some cases, say we need special majority, and this special majority is 75%. That means 75% of the vote should be in favor, right? 75% of the votes should be in favor, and if it is a special resolution, the notice must specify that the resolution is a special resolution. 75% of what? Let us say There were 20 members. Okay. There were 20 members. 3 voted against, 10 voted in favor, and the rest 7 did not vote. So, do I have to say 75% of 20? No. No. Only the numbers who have voted. 13 have voted, 75% of 13. The best way is the votes in favor is 3 times the votes against. How many votes against? 3. 3 times of 3 is what? 9. I should have minimum 9 in favor. Here it is 10. Is it passed? Yes. Now, resolution requiring special notice, section 115. This is a little different. We have seen till now every time notice is sent by the company to the shareholders. This is a notice which is sent by the shareholders to the company. This is only for these 3 businesses, 4 businesses rather, I would say. Appoint as auditor a person other than the retiring auditor. You don't want to reappoint the retiring auditor. And for that, you give a name suggestion to the company that, look, company, I want you to appoint this person as an auditor in place of him. Second, you want to stand for the directorship. You want to become a director of the company. So under section 160, you want to stand for the directorship, or under section 169, you want to remove the director or you want to appoint someone else in place of the director retiring. In all of these 4 cases, this is given. In any other case, even if the law uses the word special notice, it is not special notice of 115. So, if member wants any of these things to happen, he will give a notice to the company. At least 14 days before the meeting, maximum 3 months. So he gives it 4 months before the meeting. Does it work? No. Maximum is 3 months, but at least 14 days before the meeting, he should give this notice. Correct? And this is excluding the day of the meeting and the day of the notice. How many members? Do you think one member can go? No. You must be holding at least 1% of the total voting power. Ma'am, I hold 3%. I'm alone. Can I go? Yes, then you can go. Otherwise, you cannot. You must hold at least 1% of the total voting power, or the paid up value of your shares should not be less than 5 lakh. That is, you are holding. So, ma'am, I alone hold 2 lakh. I can never make an application. No. You can, along with others whose together your total holding is either 5 lakh or 1% of the voting power. Now, the moment the company receives this notice, company will immediately, at least 7 days before the meeting, circulate this notice to the other members. If due to time shortage we are not able to give it to every member, we will publish it in the newspaper. And you know, in Companies Act, whenever I say publish, it is one English and one vernacular language newspaper, right? Now, resolution passed at the adjourned meeting. Meeting was called on the 10th. It was adjourned to 17th. On 17th, resolution was passed. What is the date of the resolution? 17th or 10th? 17th. It is treated as a passed on the day it is actually passed and no earlier date. Moving on to the last part of this chapter, minute book. It's basically a record of the meeting. Ma'am, is it a very special book? Nare, you can take any book. You can take any book, and the moment you take a book and you record the meeting, it becomes a minute book. Which company has to maintain? Every company. Now, the thing is, section 108 talks about minute books of general meeting as well as board meeting. Under the provisions of board meeting, they don't talk about minute book. So, minute book ka provisions for board meeting is also given here. So you may get a question on minute book of board meeting and you'll be like, board meeting is not in our syllabus. No, minute books of board meeting is in your syllabus. So every company, it will contain a fair and correct summary. And it should be prepared within 30 days of the conclusion of the meeting. For which meeting? General meeting, class meeting, committee meetings, board meeting, postal ballot for every. So it shall be for the general meeting, class meeting, meeting of the creditors, meeting of the board of the directors, even committee meetings, meeting of the Committees of the board, postal ballot. In case of board meetings, obviously it will correct a summary, contain a summary of the meeting. But in case of board meeting, it will also contain the name of the directors present, the details of the resolution passed, and it will also contain the name of every director who did not vote or did not agree to the voting. Agree to the voting means who voted against the matter. Now let's say in the meeting we had discussions about some vacation the directors took, or two of the directors fought, or two of the members fought. They used slangs, all beep 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 words. My secretary recorded everything, every beep word. See, sir, my shorthand is so good. Direct chairman is like, if anyone reads, what will they think? Can we exclude the matter? Yes. It is the discretionary power. The chairman may decide, discretionary power of the chairman, not to include any matter in the minute books if he thinks it is defamatory of a person. That means it defames any person. Or he feels it is irrelevant or immaterial. That means we are discussing things which are irrelevant to the meeting. Or it is against the interest of the company. He may actually exclude those matters. He can exclude those matters. And you know what? Tomorrow, if anyone questions, let's say a member says, quorum was not present, the meeting was held. The minute books act as an evidence of the proceedings. Minute books act as an evidence of the proceedings. Now, every page, once it is prepared, within 30 days it should be prepared, every page will be signed, and the last page will be signed and dated by, in case of minutes of the board, by the chairman of the meeting. Or let's say he was not available to sign, he was not there, any reason, he died, went out, whatever, was unwell, the chairman of the next meeting. In case of minutes of general meeting, the chairman of the meeting. Now please, for general, see, board meeting can be held even in 15 days also. And anyway, company has to hold 4 meetings in a year. But in general meeting, it is 1 meeting in a year, annual general meeting. Should we wait till the next annual general meeting? No. So any director authorized by the board. In case of postal ballot, there is no meeting, so there is no chairman. So I cannot say chairman of the meeting, so it will be chairman of the board. One more thing. When I say under section 104 chairman, I'm not talking about the chairman of the board, I'm talking about the chairman of the meeting. Whoever is appointed as a chairman of the meeting. And in cases of his inability, any director authorized by the board. Correct? These books will be kept at the registered office under the custody of the company secretary or any director authorized, and will be preserved permanently. But you know what? In case of board meeting, I can keep the book at some other place also. So in case of board meeting, it can be kept at such other place as may be decided. Rest everything is same under the custody of the company secretary or any director and preserved permanently. So both are same. The only difference is minute book of general meeting or postal ballot will be kept at the registered office only. But the board meeting or the committee meetings, it can be kept at any other place also. Inspection of minute books. Now please, 119 is only for general meeting. You cannot inspect the minute books of the board meeting. And section 119 is talking about inspection of minute books only. That means, can a member go and inspect the minute books, read, take copy? Yes. But only minute books of general meeting. You don't have a right to access the minute books of board meeting. Now, the minutes of the general meeting and the postal ballot shall be kept at the registered office. Shall be open for inspection by the member without charge. That means company cannot put a charge that yes, you can check, but you have to pay me. No. And tell me, imagine the entire day member keeps coming. I want to check minute book, check minute book. Company will be like tired. So can they say you can only check it between this period to this period? Yes. Can they say 2 to 4? Yes. 12 to 2? Yes. Can they say 11 to 12? No. It must be open for minimum 2 hours. Company can impose restrictions, but minimum 2 hours every day. It should be open for inspection. Can a member take a copy? Yes. Can he say, let me take the minute book, I'll get it xeroxed and get back? No. You have to request the company, please company give me a copy of these pages. When you make a request, company will within 7 days give you the copy. Who should bear these expenses? Obviously you won't, you should bear. So you have to pay the company and the company cannot charge you more than 10 rupees per page. So with this, we are done with this. Acha, one more thing, report on AGM. Section 121, this is only applicable to listed companies. They have to make a report on AGM. MGT 15, basically they actually tell you that we have conducted the meeting as per the law. That is a declaration that they give. We have conducted the meeting and also that we have done it as per the law and this is what we have done at the meeting. Within 30 days of conclusion of the AGM, they prepared this report. And if the company fails to file the report within time, this is the penalty. And for this section, actually, if the question is given, it's for penalty only. So you should know the penalty for this section. And with this, we are done with this chapter. I hope your studies are going great. Happy learning and stay motivated. Thank you so much.